It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, a good day, everybody. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller. We're happy to welcome you and welcome into our studio once again, Ben Burke. Manzanita Outreach, we chatted, it's been some time ago, Ben, but not that long ago. Still, so many changes and expansions and new things are happening at Manzanita Outreach in the short time since we last made a visit that we wanted to invite you back in today and talk about some of that as springtime arrives and summertime starts to kind of kick into high gear. So we welcome you back to County-Wide. Good to see you again.
You too.
Let me ask you this, first of all, kind of mentioning that as school lets out here pretty soon and springtime turns to summer, is this your business seasonal, helping folks get the foods that they need? Is there a seasonal component to what you do?
There is a seasonal component, yes. So demand for food assistance will vary.
I'm thinking school lunches become less available for kids.
Correct. Yeah. So there'll be an increase in families over the summer.
Okay.
And that typically happens in June.
Okay.
So yes, we'll see that. And then there's varying seasonality, if you want to call it that, relative to holiday weekends.
Sure.
Weather, things like that will affect demand. But for the most part, seasonality for us has been irrelevant because we're just growing.
It's always a busy season. Well, that's the biggest reason I wanted to get you in here. There was a nice write-up in the Verde Independent here not long ago talking about your expansion since the last time we talked. So let's start there. Now in two completely new communities on top of what you've been doing before. And I'm assuming all of those services are still in place. Tell me a little bit about this new expansion.
Sure. So demand for food assistance is up across the board, this community, other communities. And so what we try to do is we try to fill gaps where we see that there's particular gaps in time or location or situations. And over the last year, we've had a significant increase in inbound inquiries about our services from Rimrock and Camp Verde areas.
Okay.
And so the gaps that we are hearing from our future current clients is weekends. So one of the things we've learned over the last few years in doing this is that working families struggle to get to food assistance during the week.
Sure.
Because they're working.
Sure.
Right? And they've got kids and they've got things going on. I have 2 kids of my own. There's a lot going on during the week. So 2 things come from that. One is offering food assistance on Saturdays, which we do, and the other is home delivery. And so we're sort of, over the last 6 months, really rethought a lot about what we do and why we do it, and really increased, of course, the nutrition, which we'll talk about, but the convenience is making this as convenient as possible for everyone, but with a target on working families in our community. And so Rimrock, Camp Verde, we're just opened home delivery in those 2 areas. And this month, May, we are opening Dewey Humboldt with a drive-through distribution over there as well. There's no food assistance over there in Dewey Humboldt, so there's a big gap over there.
And how did you kind of identify these communities that were in need? Just neighbors and folks in those communities?
Well, in the case of Dewey, we have clients that drive to Cottonwood for food assistance.
Sure.
So that was the first indicator of that's a pretty long drive.
Yeah.
So we talked with a couple folks there, and it's been on our radar for 2+ years that's a community that, inclusive of Mayor, that doesn't have food assistance. And so folks are traveling to Camp Verde or traveling to Cottonwood or Prescott Valley. And so we just had someone reach out, a local church over there that was interested in participating, and it's a great fit. So we'll be bringing in a lot of folks from Mayor and Dewey to offer awesome food assistance.
Well, and frankly, that really, to me, is kind of sitting on the outside of all of it looking in. I know Manzanita Outreach has been around for a while, That really speaks to how available you have been, how pliable you've been to community demands, and simply that it's been working pretty darn well, that you're able to expand. These are big expansions you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I think of the resources that are going to go into them, and I ain't talking just the food, I'm talking the time. You mentioned the distance. Mm-hmm. Gas prices are up just like food prices are. Mm-hmm. So this seems like a pretty major development for Manzanita Outreach, a pretty big chunk.
Yeah, it's big. I would say it's big in impact for these families.
Oh, no question.
Relatively speaking, our model, which is mobile distribution, right, meaning we don't have a physical location that we're operating each distribution out of. We take our trucks out and we do that. So almost all of our costs are variable costs. So we're able to not incur additional capital expenditures or fixed costs to do these things.
Yeah.
That plus incredible volunteers.
Yeah.
That do it. There's only 2 full-time employees that we have that work in our warehouse on distributions.
Okay.
Right? So volunteers, they do it all.
Make all the difference.
Yeah. So that's really, those 2 reasons are the reasons we're able to do it and not incur incredible costs, not as much as you might imagine.
I really am excited about this kind of partnership that's been in existence and is also continuing to expand with farmers markets and local growers. And I want to get into that in our second segment here. But first, you mentioned home delivery, and I wonder if as many people that need that or would like that are aware of it. So how do I get signed up that way?
Sure. So we created and manage a website called mohelp.org, mohelp.org.
MO is in Manzanita Outreach.
As in Manzanita, also as a play on words, more help,
Gotcha.
Help. Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. And so on that website, it is right now a directory, essentially, an online directory of all food assistance available countywide. Within the Cottonwood, Camp Verde, and Sedona areas, which that's how we classify each of these areas.
Okay.
Rimrock being in the Camp Verde one. There is a button on the website to request home delivery. So anybody can just go online, and that comes to us. It goes into our process, and we make sure we pack a bag of 20 to 25 pounds of fresh produce and get it on our schedule. So we're doing once a month deliveries in each community.
Okay. Are there parameters? I mean, there's got to be some kind of geographical fence,
kind of,
in some sense.
The Verde Valley is what we're saying our fence is, to use those words right now.
Yeah.
We will deliver to anyone living in the Verde Valley.
Okay. Simple as that. That's wonderful. Let's go ahead and take a break, and then I do want to get into this, I think, very exciting piece. We're going to follow today's program with future visits from some of the farmers markets that have really taken off as more than just, kind of I think a lot of us think about community and, those being kind of social events, and they certainly are that, but they're starting to play a bigger role in really providing for folks in our communities. We'll take a short break. Our guest today is Ben Burke, Manzanita Outreach, that website, mohelp.org. We'll talk more on Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley. And your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
Welcome back to the program. Again, it is Countywide. I'm Brad Miller. Ben Burke is here, Manzanita Outreach, and again, the website is MOHelp, Manzanita Outreach, mohelp.org. Take a look there, especially if you're interested in that home delivery. Again, no cost home delivery in the Verde Valley, helping people just who... It's the way it works. It's, some folks have a difficulty driving. Maybe they're older or kinds of things like that. So just that model from the get-go makes an awful lot of sense. So let's talk about your kind of affiliation partnerships with some of the local growers. I love this element of Manzanita Outreach, and it sounds like that's becoming really kind of a big piece of how all of this thing works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the umbrella idea that this falls under is increasing the nutrition of the food that we provide.
Yeah.
So as we grow it, and as any food assistance organization grows, there is an increasing amount of responsibility to community health, right? We're talking about this year, we'll do over 2 million pounds of food just in the Verde Valley.
Extraordinary.
So that's a lot of opportunity to provide increased nutrition to this community. Yeah. So that's sort of how we started thinking about it. And so a couple years ago, we did a little pilot with the extension of the University of Arizona to buy local produce and get it out to seniors. $8,000 worth of produce from a few farms. It was awesome. Seniors loved it. Last year, we were able to spend about $35,000 from money that came through various grants, and that went really well. And this year, we're hopeful to have a tenfold increase or more in our community. And so purchasing from approximately 40 to 50 farms this year, located both in the Verde Valley as well as Prescott Valley,
right.
Preponderance of farms up in Chino and Paulden that we work with. We're going to be purchasing as much as we possibly can, fresh produce, meats, dairies, locally raised and grown, and our food bags, the bags of food that this produce will go into, are going to be, and currently are, just incredible nutrition.
Yeah.
So today, right now, the food that we are picking up is being harvested. We're picking it up tomorrow, and then it's distributed on Saturday. So it's about as close of a window from farm to table as you can get, as a food assistance provider.
Yeah.
So it's a win for the community in terms of health, and it's a huge win for the farmers.
Yeah.
This is a big influx of capital for some of these small farms who, as we all know, struggle to compete in commercial markets.
Sure.
So just in our community, we think this can have a huge impact on the agricultural economy.
And allow them to grow, pun intended, but to expand, as well, if that's their desire.
Yeah.
This just seems terrific. I read somewhere, this is very anecdotal because it sounded hard for me to believe, that the typical apple that you buy in a grocery store, supermarkets that many of us need to go to, possibly was picked as much as 9 months earlier. Right. How can that be possible?
Well,
and I don't know that I want to be as disgusted by your answer, because that sounds to me like a lot of preservatives, clearly, and things like that.
Yeah, I think without going into the details, what I understand now is that fruit and vegetables in we'll say sort of mainstream supermarket style are grown and processed and packaged for shelf life and for long travel times.
Right.
We certainly see that. So for us, we get much food donated to us, and that food is typically food that has a long shelf life. So we do get root vegetables.
Sure.
Right? We do get some fruits, and we get a lot of vegetables. We get an incredible amount of donated food. But one of the things, if you look at, what's the diversity of the food is that we don't get is delicate greens.
Okay.
Right? That's something that does not travel well. And nutritionally speaking, is one of the healthiest things for us to be eating. Is
green leafy
greens.
You bet.
And so that's something, we get some of it. We get your iceberg lettuces. We get some hardy romaines. We get cabbage very frequently. But those delicate greens, those baby kales or arugulas or baby lettuces that have a higher nutritional content and are actually more palatable and easier to eat and easier to use and have more uses in the kitchen. That's one of our main focuses with local farms. Really, the only way to do that is to grow our own food locally, right? So this is a topic that extends far beyond food assistance, right? This is a topic around food sustainability for a community. And so, that's what we're focusing on, although we will have meats and root vegetables and we'll have everything from local farms that we can get. But my focus has definitely been on the leafy greens and the more delicate greens.
When we talk about working with local farmers, are we talking about like folks? Well, it's probably all a little bit of everything, but like folks that are just kind of hobby farms, maybe extended gardens, if you will, but others who really are looking to kind of make a profit and or sustain themselves, as well as others through their farms. Probably everybody.
It's both. Okay. It's everybody and everybody in between.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll say hobby plus. And all the way up through, established business, multiple, let's say, multi-generational farms. We work with those folks as well. So it's everybody.
Yeah. It's extraordinary. I know that sometimes you'll hear folks who kind of aren't on the inside and sometimes look at people who are requiring food bank services, a little different than what you're talking about. Well, we've heard this, that you do the best you can. And that's why there's going to be processed foods. There's going to be boxes of macaroni. There's going to be things like that. It's kind of a sad necessity. But when we talk about what you're doing as opposed to that, everybody's trying to push the same direction. Everybody's rowing, I think, in the same direction. But the nutritional value of what you're able to provide is much, much better. And that's going to be important for everybody, especially I'm thinking for kids.
Yeah.
And introducing them to those kinds of eating habits that'll sustain them for an awfully long time.
Right. Yeah, I think that just gets back to what's the purpose of what we're doing. Is it just to get as many calories out in the community as you possibly can? No, there's plenty of calories. Right? It's not about calories. It's about nutrition. So I think that this is the inevitable future for anybody who is doing this sort of work that becomes or intentionally becomes more conscious of the work that they're doing. Is this is what we should be doing, whether it's working with local farms or just in the case of last year, what we started doing was just refusing donations of chips, candy, sodas, all of this stuff, just empty calories that doesn't help. It just doesn't help. We refused that at the beginning of last year, beginning of 2021, and just doing things like that is.
Any blowback from the folks on the receiving end of those things? Did they follow your lead and understand what the reasoning was behind that?
There were far more positive comments than there were, hey, where did my Cheetos go?
There's going to be a going to be a 6-year-old somewhere who misses a bag of Cheetos.
Yeah,
but mom and dad will appreciate it.
Yeah. So I think that the change, which was somewhat gradual, it wasn't like a day 1, day 2 thing, was generally really well received.
Sure.
Because it wasn't like we just took that food away and didn't replace it. The produce was increased, almost doubled over this gradual period where we were removing the processed junk food, if you will.
Right. As folks are introduced, and I'm thinking, these days, I think there's a misconception, especially now we're in an inflationary period and it's been sustained for a while now. Folks still talking about that R word, that recession word. So all of those are going to factor into big time into what you do. As we start to introduce some of these green leafies that we talk about, those might be new foods to prepare for people. Do you run into that where folks who are receiving some of this stuff, it's good for them, it's better for them, a little unfamiliar with those and preparation?
Absolutely.
Maintenance.
It's one of the, I would say it's one of the main things that we have had historically requests on is recipes or preparation tips. we've got a big group of volunteers, some of them chefs. We've got a couple cookbook authors. We have people that are very experienced in culinary nutrition, and as well as the farmers, which we're working with.
Right.
And we're developing a system where we're able to distribute recipes in that week's food distribution with ingredients that they will be getting.
Gotcha.
So we are working on that. We've done some offhanded recipes in the past.
Okay.
But what we're working on now will be much more streamlined and much more usable. And so the trade-off in thinking about doing a recipe book versus doing recipe cards is many times we get a recipe book, it goes in a drawer, and we sort of forget about it.
Right.
There's no intentional reference to that again.
Right.
And so by doing it this way, what we're going to be doing is providing an actual recipe card box, and then recipes every week to be adding.
Very specific to what's in the box.
Exactly.
IKEA style in a way.
Yeah, sure.
Only much better.
Yeah, very
me.
Simple, very healthy, and simple cooking techniques, things that almost everybody has in their home, and delicious and very, very, very good and nutritious.
Extraordinary. We need to take a final break. When we come back, we'll repeat excuse me, some information about how you can reach out to Manzanita Outreach. Our guest is Ben Burke. Countywide is back after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
Welcome back to the program as we wrap it up. Ben Burke, Manzanita Outreach, mohelp.org. Take a look at the website there, manzanitaoutreach.org. And what do you need? I mean, it really sounds like things are moving slick. You did mention volunteers at the top of the show and how critical they are to what you do. Do we need volunteers these days?
We could absolutely use the support of volunteers in the Rimrock and Camp Verde areas.
The new expansion areas, sure.
We on one hand, have had incredible volunteer support. In the last 3 months, we've had over 600 volunteers, unique volunteers, doing different projects, different programs that we have going on. These expansions, we could use a handful more folks that want to dedicate 2 to 3 hours of time once a month. That's it. And so we have a very good process for segmenting out everything that we do so that volunteers can take pieces of them. We need a few more home delivery drivers to continue to fulfill the increased demand for home delivery in Rimrock and Camp Verde. That is our, if I said we had a need, that's our biggest need right now.
Okay. Can I find information about volunteerism, applications, or those kinds of things at the website?
Yeah, you can go to manzanitaoutreach.org.
Okay. ManzanitaOutreach.org. Find out a little bit more. Is there a phone number you want to put out there, or website's usually pretty good?
Website's great.
Best way to find out.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is extraordinary. You think there aren't incredible things happening in our community, and then Ben Burke comes in and assures you that certainly there is, and they are just one organization trying to help out and already have a strong legacy of doing good in the community. That now continues into Camp Verde and Rimrock. They need volunteers. If you can step up, ManzanitaOutreach.org is a great place to find out more and become part of this great effort. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Good talking to you. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.